here today just to provide everybody with an update on the Mendenhall family tragedy that was discovered Friday evening. And what we have learned since that point in time, we're able to share a substantive portion of that information right now. What we know for a fact is that Tamisha Mendenhall was the last person in the home of the four family members to die, and that was a self-inflicted. This is per the forensic examination of the pathologist's office in Kalamazoo, a self-inflicted laceration to the femoral artery in the groin, a single cut that severed a portion of that artery and resulted in a tremendous blood loss on her part and eventually claimed her life rather quickly. What we do not know is whether Jeffrey Mendenhall or the two young children expired first. We do not know in what order that took place. The two children were the victims of a homicide. Neither do we know at this point in time which parent or whether both parents were responsible for the death of the children, whether Jeffrey died first or the children died first. At this point in time, we're not aware of in what sequence that occurred. What we do know, following the forensic pathology work, is that neither the children nor Jeffrey had any traumatic injuries present on their bodies. The only person that sustained a traumatic injury was Tamisha Mendenhall, and that was a self-inflicted wound that took her life. Part of the evidence that was recovered from the home consisted of a canister or a tank that was purchased as having, or rather containing, helium product. And helium is known to have been used in the past for suicidal attempts, taking one's own life via suicide. That has been an instrument of death in prior suicide attempts. Also found within the home was medication that would be consistent with anxiety type issues, depressant type medication that would slow the respiratory system of a person that consumed it or somebody instructed to consume it, however that would have taken place. There was also plastic bags recovered in the home with tape on those bags that could have been utilized to place on a person's upper body portion around their head, in concert, again, potentially with the use of the helium gas, if in fact that canister contained that material. It's difficult to say what was on the minds of the parents, whichever parent was still or involved in that process of placing those items, or whether the children were holding those items at some point, whether or not that was an instance of everything being staged as far as the flowers and the stuffed animals. It would be conjecture on my part to attempt to explain why it was that the children were found in that fashion. Well, I don't know at this point in time what's proceeding as far as the testing with the animals. I do know that family pets are going to be forensically examined as well to see if there's any correlation with regards to their manner of death that may be similar or dissimilar to the family members. So I do know that will take place. There was a note left in the home. I do not have the contents of that note. It was a very brief note, and there was a mention on the note of the children's innocence in this circumstance. Beyond that, I do not have the content of that note that was left there, and that'll be analyzed as well. But it was a very, very brief note from what I was told, and it did not have a substantial degree of content included in it.
Who wrote it?
The preliminary information that I'm receiving is that it appears Jeffrey authored that note.